All right, let's hit the ground running here. This is my training split, more or less. It's subject to not change at this point, but these are the 6 main movements that I will be focusing on, my 6 main compounds: the bench press, back squat, overhead press, deadlift, front squat, and bench row. The overhead press is a single arm dumbbell press, by the way. But these are all been tested more or less. I was going to go with like my estimated detrained maxes, which I'm glad I didn't, specifically on the bench press and the overhead press, because I am really, really weak on those right now in particular, just because I haven't practiced them much. But yeah, in regards to my training, this is how those main movements are going to be scattered throughout the week. As you can see, we are running the DUPs. We have a volume day in the beginning of the week, then a speed strength day, day 2, and then a strength day, day 3, and then finally we end the week with a strength volume mix sort of day, which makes sense because at the end of the week you really can't do either one of those, right? So these are the 4 days where I will be doing at least 2 compound movements on. And then in regards to my secondary work, I have a flexi template, which just basically means I have a checklist which needs to get done by the end of the week. Body parts that are going to be emphasized more during this training block, I have more total sets for. So for example, all my my vertical pulling, all my direct lat work, we have 16 sets. And then another body part that I'm trying to spruce up a bit, my hamstrings, we have 16 sets as well. Body parts that are currently not as big of a priority, we have less total sets for. But I love flexi template. I think especially with secondary work, and if you're running a full body split anyways, which this is obviously, in case you haven't noticed, that's what we would call it, a full body split. But it's a great intro into auto regulation because it lets the lifter decide what's good today, right? And I think picking loads, that's something that's perhaps best left for slightly more advanced lifters, people who've been doing it for a while. But this is a great first step. It teaches you to be organized. It teaches you to take into consideration what you might have tomorrow, how you're actually feeling today. So I really love flexi templates in regards to how my secondary work is scattered throughout the week. And it literally is scattered. I get to decide when I do what. Lastly, this is where I will be keeping my weigh-ins. I am not counting my macros, but I am somehow, right, with a little magic, I think I'd like to call it at this point, well-informed and intuitive eating. We're gaining at a pretty appropriate rate, and I want you guys to see what that looks like. So I will be putting my weigh-ins on here and showing this to you guys at the end of all my reports, so that you guys can get an idea of what the general trend is like. But yeah, that's all the paperwork. I think from here we just get to actual work, right?